Hey folks, welcome back to the Vinyl Vault. As always, I'm Parker.
And I'm Tony.
And this week, I'm very excited to bring you this album. This is a singer that I consider on my Mount Rushmore of female artists. Tony might not. We'll get to Tony's top four. Surprise, Tony, you're going to give me your top four female singers at the end of this episode.
I'll think about it.
And this is an album that I think really encapsulates that 90s R&B, almost like a slower New Jack Swing style music, and just a great singer. Let's go ahead and just throw it up there. Boom, Toni Braxton. She's in the back, and Toni Braxton is in my opinion, one of the greatest singers of all time. So we are taking a look at her self-titled album. Now, for a lot of people that aren't familiar with Toni Braxton, if you aren't, shame on you. And two, she is from a family of singers. They used to be in a group called the Braxtons. And eventually, the legendary producer Babyface kind of recognized that she was the star. And, kind of found her and had her, a lot of her talent on tape. And so this is the first album that she has produced. It's self-titled, titled Toni Braxton. Tony, you tried...
Are you talking to me or her?
He's been doing this all week. Tony Wynn.
Yes.
You don't normally dabble in R&B. You have listened to a lot of groups in the past. We've done Boys to Men on here before, but it's not your usual forte. Give me your reaction.
So yes, I would actually say that the very first genre that I got into in music in general was R&B, and was very specifically 90s R&B, as it was the music that my sisters, my middle sister in particular, that her albums were pretty much all of Boys to Men. I want to say she actually did have Toni Braxton as well, but a lot of just whenever 90s R&B was coming out, she had a lot of those. So that was my first real exposure to that music, because I would steal her CDs and listen to them and try to fit in with my sister, who was 13 years older than I am. So I'm just trying to connect, but also trying to be a cool kid and not knowing that my sister isn't as cool as I thought, or maybe she is. Just kidding. But anyway, listening to this album, it made me kind of go down memory road of, again, feeling like, yes, like I know who Toni Braxton is, and the few songs that I do like from her, hint, it's not from this album, but listening to the album, it is nice to hear it as an adult, and actually appreciating the music that was put into it, and knowing a little bit more history behind it all. All to say that, again, this still really isn't my jam. I would not put her on the Rushmore of female singers, but I think that at the time she had a very distinct voice, as she's very, very low, kind of a husky kind of a sound, and was probably one of the first times I ever heard a female husky, yes, and kind of using a like gravelly sound every now and then, the Ziggy's Cafe kind of sound.
Okay, time out. So you guys don't understand this, but I confided in Tony the day we announced that this was going to be the album, and I told him that as a child I used to listen to Delilah, and we all love Delilah. Delilah's the GOAT. Well, listening to 105.9 in the dark in my bedroom as like a 7 or 8 year old, there would be this radio commercial for Ziggy's Cafe, a local restaurant here in town, here in Springfield. And for some reason, they hired some Louis Armstrong knockoff to sing about Ziggy's. It scared the hell out of me. Every night it came on, it was just terrifying. I would actually turn and it's one of those clock radios with the wood paneling, you guys know the type. And I would slam it, and I would just count to like 60. I'm thinking 60's safe, right? And then I'd hit it back on, just hoping to get back to that sweet Delilah, and you just hear Ziggy's, and I just like it was not good. It was a nightmare, and I don't appreciate him bringing my trauma into the vinyl vault. I just wanted to provide that context in case you thought that was a random plug for Ziggy's. This is not a plug for Ziggy's.
Jingles is music as well, and you should appreciate said music.
No, I'm sorry.
In fact, why don't we cue up these Ziggy's?
No, I'll quit. I'll quit this podcast today. But yeah, she has kind of a more of an alto style voice, and I was reading some of their critiques that she was given on this album, and a pretty good combination. They said it was kind of like a Tracy Chapman and Anita Baker, which if you're unfamiliar with those two artists, I can't help you anymore. But that, I would say that's pretty. I wouldn't use husky, but I would definitely use more of a she's not a soprano.
Yeah,
put it that way.
Yeah. Whenever she does go into higher registers, it definitely is a lovely sound, and I wish she did a little bit more variety into that as well, because it feels like whenever she has to strain her voice, there's a little bit more passion behind it, and that was one of my issues with the album, and why it wasn't really connecting with me, was that it all was so safe. It was just kind of in the middle. It didn't really stand out, per song. And every now and then, whenever she would go and do a higher register or put a little bit more feeling into it, I would be like, yes, let's have more of that. But then it would cut back to, the chorus again, which, for an album that did so well in terms of Grammys and everything like that, I could not connect to any of the hooks for the most part. And I mean, I managed to, narrow it down to a top 3 for me, but I think it was more so a top 2, and then the rest were just like, I guess I can choose this third one. So yeah, that was my experience with this album. You seem upset.
That critique sucked. I'm sorry. So here, we talked about this before. Tony likes to pick albums where he's trying to narrow me down to a specific genre. I like to introduce Tony to albums that I think are outside of his wheelhouse that I think are good. And I get defensive every time I give him a good album. And, it's not just me saying it. ESPN says it. Sports Illustrated says it. They're all saying that this is a good album. That's a reference that nobody got. This was a number 1 album for at least a couple weeks. It's I think I was looking here in my notes. I think, hold on a second, folks. Yeah, so here, this album, according to the U.S. Billboard, for the entire 90s, they consider this the 68th best album. I can't name 67 better albums. But in terms of but in terms of all-time charts for women albums, Billboard 200, she's 94th all time. So obviously, and 94. Ooh, that's not that great. That's all time, buddy. That's all time. And the thing is that I don't think I'm really having a hard time struggling, or not having a hard time struggling. I'm struggling and having a hard time with the fact that you don't think this is a good album.
I think that this is something you listen to as a kid, and it's just because you grew up on it, there's more appreciation for it.
I have ears. I have ears.
I'm guilty of that too. As again, you're not a huge fan of some of the music that I've chosen, and a lot of it is because of it. It's me growing up on said music. It might be a thing where I think there have been artists that sound like her and have made better music since listening to it.
Name one.
And I mean, so listening to her voice, I think somebody like Christina Aguilera hits the same registers and can do more with her music and her voice than Toni can. I think that the songs that were
one
made
sucked.
for her and everything, has made a bigger impact. And, she, to me, at least, is closer to the Rushmore than Toni.
But also you have to keep in mind that Christina Aguilera came out around a time when streaming services became popular and it was easier to score more achievements in music. Whereas like when Toni was out, you had to physically get in your car and go to a store and buy a physical CD, and you played that CD. You didn't just sit at home on your phone and add it to your library and put it on shuffle.
I think,
And there are people out there that genuinely they talk about how they will put albums on repeat and then just go to sleep to boost streaming numbers for artists. And my point is that I think if Toni came out with this album today, I think she would see similar, if not better, success than Christina Aguilera. I think she's just a prisoner of the 90s.
I disagree. I think that she would. My reaction is how how other people would feel is that she just isn't. She's playing it safe in comparison, and I think the fact that she came out in the 90s, yes, what you're saying is true about the availability of things, but on the flip side, because there was lack of ability, like there was less for you to do, there was less options, so you were just forced to like, okay, well, here's the new person that Babyface is producing, let's just give her a listen. Okay, she's got a distinct voice at the time, and I mean, to me, to the conversation, I still don't feel like people bring up Toni Braxton. I think you're the only person that I know that does that. That being said, I just play devil's advocate for myself. I did look up what at least Google would assume as greatest female artists of all time, and she maybe after the second or third page would eventually show up there.
Now, is that based on album sales, or is that based on just objective?
I don't know. Yeah, in full honesty, a lot of the top ones were more recent, more people who might have hit the accolades and so on and so forth. I'm gonna die on this hill. This is a hill I will die on. And I totally understand that. I want to feel what you're feeling. I just feel like it's just a matter of this is what you grew up on and you're defending it. I think that's great. I'm all for it, but I also think that you're wrong.
So so we talked about this a little bit. I put out a Facebook post on Friday, and I asked people, basically, so my Mount Rushmore of the 4 best female singers of all time, regardless of accolades, regardless of who you know, regardless of recency bias, just the 4 best singers of all time. You put them in, you listen, you go, great singer.
It's so singing ability, right?
Just being able to sing.
Okay.
And I have Celine, Whitney, Toni, and I purposely leave that 4th spot open because I feel like that is a very, I don't know if there's somebody else in this world to me that if I hear their name, I go, yes, absolutely. I don't know why I didn't think of that name earlier. That person should belong in that top 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to listen. I had comments. People were suggesting Taylor Swift, which, I mean, not the best singer in the world. I had people suggesting, Aretha Franklin, and I think she's great in terms of what she did for the music industry for female artists. I don't know if she's one of the best singers of all time.
I mean, just you naming those people off, I would say. I mean, I think Aretha is amazing. Honestly, I think that a good sign of an artist is that if they're able to do a cover and their cover is better than the original. And I think that like somebody like Aretha who was able to do a lot of covers and just made it so much her own and very, very capable of doing, all sorts of, has a huge range, such a strong voice. I mean, the same for Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
So I'd agree with you there.
I had people suggesting. I mean, and these aren't bad suggestions. I mean, the Taylor Swift one was a bad suggestion, but I had people suggesting like Mariah Carey. I had people suggesting. I can't think of the rest of them, but
Sure,
other soprano singers, and so my issue is that for me personally, I'm no factual entity. I don't write the rule on music, but for me, it's those three. Those are automatic no-brainers whatsoever, and that fourth spot's always up for debate to me. But I know that we didn't talk about this beforehand, so I'm just gonna throw the ball in your court.
Sure.
Who are your top four?
I mean, I agree to a point. I'd say it's Aretha, Celine Dion, with huge range. I mean, I would see it because I also consider just actual songs that either songwriting or their discography. So then I'd put in like somebody like Madonna. And then, well, I guess, I don't know, maybe like Lady Gaga. I think, besides Madonna, I think they've got the best like ranges. And then Madonna is just capable of writing or having such a discography. I mean, she's the queen of pop for a reason. So like, yeah, for me that makes sense. So yeah, I suppose that would be my Rushmore.
I think we should title this like I'm not sure what we should title it, but I think we should get the point across that like Toni Braxton is underrated. I think you may not. Obviously, you feel I have her too high. I feel you have her not even in the ballpark, and I feel that I don't know. I feel like she's underrated. I feel like she I mean, she wasn't a trailblazer. Let's get that out of the way. She wasn't, setting new paths for female singers, but like I think she's influenced a lot of the, like I said, like the Mariah Careys, maybe the Christina Aguileras. I think she's had some influence. I just think that she's not. This seems to be a trend with a lot of the artists that I pick that I don't feel like they get their due.
Sure.
I don't feel like they get their flowers.
Yeah.
And maybe, I mean, she didn't have it's not like her career. She didn't have any big scandals. There was the bankruptcy deal. But I don't know how much of that was her fault, if any at all. I think that was more of just bad management, but I'm not the expert on this, but she's trying to make a comeback. But I mean, she just came out of the gate swinging, and man, I'm very upset that I know that what's going to happen is this is going to be posted on YouTube or Facebooks, and what's going to happen is we're either going to get no comments or we're going to have a bunch of people saying that Toni's not as good as I think she is, and it's not my fault. I have ears and people don't.
I think just to compare her to like to the people that I said, and I forgot to mention Whitney Houston, crazy, but yeah, I if I'm going to replace like Madonna, actual capable singers there, I think.
Adele was mentioned in my post.
I mean, she's got huge range as well. I just feel like those four could sing these songs and do something more with it. I can, my favorite Toni Braxton song is, "Unbreak My Heart."
Such a good song.
Yes, and that every time you say Toni Braxton, I'm thinking of that song.
You don't even have to say Braxton.
No, I mean,
you just say Toni.
Well, that's unfair for me.
It's crazy because
fair enough, you're thinking of me the whole time. I appreciate it, but
it's crazy because there used to be a group in the '90s whose entire name was just Toni, spelled 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And whenever I say Toni in a musical sense, not in the Vinyl Vault sense, but in the musical sense, most people with ears would assume, and no offense to people without ears, but most people would assume Toni Braxton. She's one of those people that I feel like, who else?
I mean, yeah, Tony,
Who?
Tony Bennett.
No one's thinking of Tony Bennett when you say, "Hey, that Tony record."
It depends on the age group, but if you're going to talk about, as a Tony, I would know. Nobody is like Tony, like Toni Braxton. No one ever says that.
Well, that's the thing is, and
people say Tony, and it doesn't help that my first name and middle name shortened is Tony. So, like, nobody is saying Toni Braxton.
So
break my heart.
And my thing,
breathe again.
Why'd you say that like your long legs? The only evidence I have to this theory is when I posted on social media my top 3/4, all I put was Tony. Everyone knew who I was talking about. Not
With
one
the spelling.
Not one comment said, Tony who? I don't know this Tony. I know Celine and Whitney.
I have a feeling it was more so Tony who. I don't want to seem like I'm dumb, so I'm going to go look it up real quick and be like,
not
her?
my friend list.
And then
not the people I interact with on social media. But that being said, I want to hear your 3 because I want to get the yelling out of the way, and then I can set the record straight.
Okay, so fair enough. So I'll start off with my top. I would say it's "Breathe Again." Why I made that mention. "Breathe Again" to me is the only hook that sticks with me, and I guess it doesn't help that later at the very last song there's "Breathe Again." So I'm like, wait, okay, this sounds familiar.
This is an album that's meant to encourage proper health activities.
Yes, as in breathing again. So that was my number 1. My number 2, I did really like "You Mean the World to Me."
Thank you, Tony.
And then my 3rd is "Best Friend." So there you go. How about that?
So which one did you not like?
2 through 9. "Another Love Song" was fine.
Wow, that one was fine.
I think I like "Best Friend" a little bit more. Again, I was struggling with my 3rd.
Yeah,
right off the bat, I liked "Breathe Again" and "You Mean the World to Me," and then everything else was just like, okay, another sad love song could be number 3, but I think so Best Friend's verse melody I liked more than just the, I guess, whole song of another sad love song.
This is so offensive.
I'm literally telling you my favorite Toni Braxton
I'm yawning. That's how bad this top 3 is.
Okay, please enlighten us so that we can be like, this guy is delusional.
All right, number 3 is "I Belong to You." That's perfect blend of New Jack Swing and traditional R&B, and absolutely nails it on the vocals. Argue with the wall, I don't care.
Please.
Tied for 2nd, 7 Whole Days. Not crazy about the hook. It's just the same note, 7 whole days, not a word from you.
It is the longest song in the world.
It is only 6 minutes long.
Only 6 minutes.
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida is 17 minutes long, just so we're clear. Iron Butterfly. You know the vision.
It's about actually having interesting music.
Yeah, whatever. Now, I just love that. I love the, I don't want to call it ad-libbing, but like the riffing during the chorus when she really lets her voice out of the cage. She nails that. And then tied for 2nd is "Love Should Have Brought You Home." Fantastic song. Argue with the wall. I don't care. "Love Should Have Brought You Home." I want to sing it. That's how much I love it right now. And I'm not going to sing it because we're not going to get copyright striked. And then tied for 1. Oh, I'm sorry. I lied. So the top... No, never mind. No, never mind. We're good. Tied for 1st. That's right. I have 5 songs on a top 3 list. That's how good this album is. Tied for 1st is "You Mean the World to Me." Great song. Great song. Absolutely great song. And it's a fantastic song. And "Argue with the Wall." And then number 1 is "Another Sad Love Song." That, oh my Lord. Thank you so much, Tony. I know you didn't write this at all. It was Babyface and Daryl Simmons. Shout out to Babyface and Daryl Simmons.
You're talking to me. I didn't write anything.
No. Yeah, like you could write another sad love song.
I could not.
Wrecking my brain like crazy. It's just a great song. I'm sorry. And it's one of those ones that you see the title and you're like, oh, is this going to be some slow song? No, it's a bop. It's a straight bop. And is that what it's a straight bop. It's a banger. It's absolute fire. It's straight gas. Argue with the wall. I don't care. The worst song is the reprise at the end. We don't need to have Breathe Again twice on the same album. I'm actually very anti-reprises, just in general.
Yeah.
I think they're very good for like movie scores when you have to have a common theme throughout the whole movie. Not on a studio album. I don't need to be reminded of that song. I'll just go back to the first song if I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
And it's also, I mean, in some albums they put the reprise. Is it reprise or reprise? I don't
think it's either.
Sometimes they'll put it after the song it's supposed to be about, and it's like, just make the first song longer.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? So yeah, that's my only complaint is that song needed that didn't need. This could have been what? It could have just been 11 tracks. Could have been 11 tracks, but yeah. Other than that, probably top 5 album all time. Just saying.
I'm so happy for you.
This is great. I'm glad that you guys are getting to experience good music, and you have to admit, this beats the brakes off Ben Folds. I'm sorry, this album, you have to admit.
So
that it's a competition, but if you're in the car and you're going on a long road trip, are you bumping Rockin' the Suburbs album or Toni Braxton's?
The answer is Ben Folds all the way.
God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, audience.
I mean, yeah, I dozed off while driving while listening to this, especially during the 6-minute song of 7 whole days. Yeah, that's how long it took.
It was almost 7 minutes because each minute had to be a day that he didn't call her. And how could you not call Toni Braxton in 7 days?
Yeah,
I mean, how could you not call Toni Braxton in 7 days?
Give her a call.
Use your friend's phone.
I mean, it was the 90s, so it was a little bit harder.
Go back to the album cover. Walk to her house. Call her. I mean, this was kind of like that waiting to exhale style haircut too.
Yeah.
But I'm not crazy about it. Also, love that logo with the X going up into the eye.
Yeah.
Slight Nike check there on the cover. But how could you go 7 whole days? Not even 7 half days.
Maybe it's because she's singing one song.
She's just
the whole time.
She's just really big into fractions. 7 whole days. Oh man, it's a great album. You can argue with the wall. I don't care. But that's gonna do it for us here on this episode of the Vinyl Vault. Tony, you have had some time to consider your next pick. Do you want to tease it, or do you still need to deliberate?
I've been dancing around some potentials, and I think just to somewhat mix it up, I think we're gonna go to the 60s, and do some 60s rock. So, yeah, we'll see if we decide to go down something a little bit more popular or something a little bit more nerdy. So we'll see. That's
nerdy 60s rock.
Yeah, a lot of people might not know it. I mean, people should, but
that's very obscure.
Yeah, it is, but it won't be obscure either way. It's my choice. So,
all right. Well, hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Vinyl Vault. As always, I'm Parker,
and I'm Tony. Give us a comment, share, and a like.
Yeah, and make sure you don't wait 7 whole days to let us know what you think.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye.